Hi guys, Zaby here, bringing you a brand new video. In today's video, I am doing another Force of Will deck profile, and in this one we're going to have Gill Lapis, the Primogenitor Deck Profile. The way I have this built is mainly focused on calling out Gill Lapis. He's the main card this deck's focused on getting, J activating him, and just a very fun deck. This deck probably won't fare as well once the next set drops. I forget. For the life of me, I can't think of the name right now. There's a card coming out where it's gonna blast, just straight up kill one of your opponent's J ruler, and you can't chase to it. So this is going to be a bummer. I may try to fix the deck up a little bit once that comes around, if that happens, or I might just start out with this card and then side out for something else, such as Kaguya 3.0, which is a very common side deck card for this, and I'll explain why a little bit later. So real quick, we'll get to the deck. And obviously we'll start with our ruler first, which is Conqueror of the Black Moon, Gill Lapis. And he takes 1 dark, 1 moon, and 1 void to J activate him. And then basically, as long as it's on the field, your opponent has to pay 1 extra, any color of any void, just to activate their regalia. So that in the end of itself is very good, especially in today's format. Then you activate him for the cost of 1 moon. You can cancel the target ability, target activate ability. So activate ability, and then we have his second ability is target J resonator gains minus 200 till the end of the turn, which is okay. But the main thing about him is definitely his God's Art. Again, he has 12/12 for his attack and defense, which is quite good. And his God's Art is 2 void, 1 moon, 1 dark. And you search your opponent's deck, and you take a Resonator, you take a Field Edition, and or one of their regalia. So you can get up to 3 cards with this card and just dominate with that. So a very good card. Now we have our stones. We play 4 Rulers Memoria. This deck utilizes a lot of several lights, I should say, and there is some blue also splashed in, so definitely very helpful. Next up we have 4 Black Moon's Memoria, which is just an awesome card. Basically just black or moon. Then we have 2 Moonbreeze Memoria, which is light or moon. So those are our stones. Obviously there's only 10. You should probably try to just stick with 10 so you can get to the stones that you want quicker. So next up, for our 1-drop resonators, I run 4 Witch of the Night. Just a really good defender for a 1-drop with 800 defense. Plus it for 1 moon, you can drop one of your opponent's attacks by 200 for the turn. So theoretically, if your opponent has a resonator with 1,000, you can still block it. So just a very good 1-drop for defense purposes. Then I run 2 Demon of the Black Moon, Lilith. I was running this at 3, but I never wanted to drop it at 2 because of its awakening ability, which pretty much on top of her cost, its awakening ability, you can pay extra any color void and kill an opponent's resonator with that cost. So that's why I rarely ever just dropped it at 2, so that's why I kind of just dropped it 2/2. Next up we have 2 Izanami, the Sealed Terror. Very good card. This is a card you kind of want in the graveyard, and Basically, for 3 dark and 2 void, you can banish her from your graveyard and pop a resonator. Or for 1 dark and 1 moon, you can remove her from her graveyard from play, and your opponent has to discard a card. And make sure there is an errata on this card, so it's really, really overpowered without the errata. So just make sure that you know when you're building this deck that even if your card doesn't say it, it has to be physically this card in your graveyard that you have to remove from play. Just a heads up. Next up, for our last resonator of the deck, which is a 4-drop, we have 3, the Fallen Angelic Destroyer Lucifer. Just a very good card. He has flying, and when he enters the field, your opponent has to banish a card. And for a dark and a moon, when it attacks and does damage, you gain life points equal. Next up, for our regalia, we have our Illusory Demonic Globe, the Earth. This is the main one for this deck. Pretty much the main ability for this is you rest it and you produce a moon. As long as it's for an activate ability or a judgment ability for your Gil Lapis or the God's Art. And then also you can rest it for its other ability, and it sets your Gil Lapis back into your ruler zone as a ruler. So next up we have 3 Leviathan, the Demon Sword. This gives Gil Lapis swiftness, which is very, very good, and also imperishable, which these 2 cards won't really do too much against the new card coming out because you can't chase it. So if I'm correct about that, you're not going to be able to banish this card to save it. So next up we have 2 Interdimensional Vessel Apollo, because there's some awakening abilities, plus it gives Gil Lapis flying, which is awesome. This produces a moon for an awakening ability, much like the Illusory Demonic Globe, the Earth, gives it the moons to awakening abilities, or not awakening abilities, activate abilities. Then our last regalia, we run 1 Death Scythe, the Life Reaper. Your opponent's ruler loses imperishable and swiftness, which is good. And then if you rest it, all you really have to know for at least this deck is that gives your ruler plus 200/200 till the end of the turn, which is good. Now we're going to go into our spells. Our 1-drops for spells, we have the Scorn of Dark Alice. We run 3 of those. This is one of my favorite dark cards because you get to look at your opponent's hand, which is pretty important, and then they lose a resonator after that. So that's definitely a very, very good card. Next up, our 1-drop light. We have a 2 Shining Strike. Basically, your opponent rests a resonator and you draw a card, which is good. And our last 1-drop is called the Primogenitor. This can awaken into a 3-drop, which is basically without activating or awakening, I should say. It's you take a resonator from your graveyard, add it to your hand, and the second ability is which you get on top of it is that you get a resonator from your deck to your hand. So one of those is good. You'd think more than one would be good, but I actually don't really use this card that much, which is why I dropped it to 1 in the first place, which surprised me because I thought I'd be using it a lot more, but I really don't. Maybe it's because there's not a lot of resonators in this build, because again it's focused on Gil Lapis. Next up we have 4 Space-Time Collapse. Basically, because this deck is a Gil Lapis deck, you pop one of your opponent's resonators and one of their regalia, which is super, super good for this deck. And it's only the cost of 2. Next up we run 4 Luminescent Bamboo Bullets. Basically it's a 2-drop, destroy a target rested resonator, but you can awaken it, and it turns into a 4-drop for an extra moon and void, you get to destroy 2. So very, very good card. Next time we have 3, Space-Time Anomaly. This is what I was talking about the little splash of blue in the deck, because you have to use a dark and a water just to use it. And it's also got Remnant, which means you can use it in the graveyard as well. And basically you hit a Resonator for minus 500, 500, and then you draw a card. So very good card. If you have 4 stones on the field, you can potentially, swing for 1,000 to a Resonator. So, and the last card of this deck is 2 Pitch Black Moon. I almost dropped this to 1, but I wound up keeping it at 2 because every time I wanted to drop it to 1, a situation came up where 2 was required. 2 is very helpful. So I wound up just sticking with 2 for this card. But I can see why 1 would be good as well if you wanted to add whatever else in place of one of them. So, alright guys, I thank you guys for watching. I hope this maybe gave you some ideas for your Gil Lapis deck. I may try to change this up a little bit after the next set comes out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But until then, this is a very fun deck. I really enjoy playing it. Gil Lapis is a fun ruler, especially his J ruler side. It's just fun when you're able to get his God's Art off and just steal from your opponent's deck. And it's just really fun. And keep in mind you can only use it once per game, so use it wisely when you do decide. So definitely a fun deck, and I hope this helped you with your deck too. And I'm always open for suggestions as well. I love suggestions to help improve my deck, and that's why I do these videos, is for, we can help each other out. So again guys, I want to thank you all for watching, and you all have an awesome day.